Robin, thank you so much in advance for your time, for your wisdom, for your grace, for your instruction. I'm just so delighted to have you here.
I'm so delighted to be here. I just love all the work that you're doing in the world, especially the France stuff. But to say yes is golden because when you say yes to yourself, it's a game changer. So bless your heart for figuring that out and for sharing that with the world. It's so good.
Thank you so much. It is a work in progress. And the beauty of saying yes to yourself is we have multiple opportunities every single day to do that. And what I've found has been kind of a hurdle in saying yes to ourselves is that we sometimes come to that with the idea that our yes is a no to everybody else
Mhm.
instead of realizing that we live in a world of abundance and possibility. And when you have a piece of the pie and I have the piece of the pie is whole again. It doesn't now have less pie available. So, what I love the regenerative
Mhm.
nature of the yes that feels aligned, that is not really a no, but it is an actual yes to me, and everybody wins. The ripple effects
Yeah.
of that feeling in my body when I'm listening and paying attention and choosing myself
Mhm.
makes me a better mom, a better podcaster, a better friend, a better everything.
Yeah, put you in the present moment, which is, really could be our end goal. Just being present for whatever it is that you're doing, because I know I certainly wasn't. And if you're not present for your life, what is there?
Right. And it just
Yeah.
passes without us paying attention.
Mhm.
Let me ask you the question I ask everybody, and then let me ask you the thousands of questions that just came up when you said that. So, how are you saying yes to yourself in this season?
Yeah. Um, well, so yes to myself is in the form of a no, right?
Love it.
And this is so, you know, you've already said so much because,
Got you.
you're talking about yes to yourself, but you also said choose. And so when you choose, you're no longer living by default.
Right.
And because when we don't choose, right, when we let life happen to us,
Mhm.
that's when our hormones go absolutely wonky,
Sure.
just wonky. So we have to choose. We have to choose this or that, yes or no. But we have to choose. We can't just let things happen. So when you say yes to yourself, you're choosing. But also say no to something is choosing.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because our hormones really shift throughout life, right? We have kind of four very distinct hormonal phases of our lives. We have, puberty, and then we have our reproductive years, and then we have perimenopause where progesterone really starts to go down. And then we have postmenopause where testosterone plays a much bigger role.
Hmm.
And the thing is, ladies, you don't want to wait till postmenopause to have an opinion or
Incredibly disruptive if that's how you do it. Add
or
everything to my
yeah.
life.
Or to act right on what your body is telling you. You don't want to wait that long. For some of us, it's just, we have to wait. Um, but postmenopause, you can feel it in your bones. And when you go against saying yes to yourself, you get hot flashes and you get night sweats and you have anxiety, right? All these things start coming up because you don't have protective estrogen anymore, telling you to, nurture everyone else. So it's pretty fabulous that our bodies are actually talking to us all the time. And if we would just listen, we would know whether it's a yes or a no. So, how I'm saying yes to myself is well, when I feel into, whatever it is I'm being asked to do, or a recent example is I actually don't want to say fired, but I actually said I don't need your services anymore to my house cleaner.
Completed. I completed.
I completed, I like that so much. I completed, the relationship with my house cleaner or housekeeper
Yes.
because it was feeling too chaotic,
Right.
right? Just,
That's so fascinating.
yeah, just when
It's
she's coming and,
it's supposed
um,
to be calming.
well, it's supposed to be really supportive, right? That's the whole idea, but it was feeling anything but supportive. She's a lovely person, which is the other side of it, but it was taking too much brain space for me. And the other thing that was so interesting is that I'm a very A to B person. So if you that's why it's it's so hard on hormones because it's like if you give me a challenge, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure it out, get there. So we decided to get a piano.
Okay.
There's absolutely no rush. We haven't had a piano in 40 years, right? There's absolutely no rush. But the A to B person that I am, let me know if you can relate.
I can.
I start working on it.
Right.
And there happens to be, a used piano, right? We're not
Sure.
looking for a new one, but there happens to be one not too far away. But then the size felt too big, and normally I would just like figure it out. But I thought, you know what? I'm too busy right now. I don't want to take that on too. So
Right.
I connected with the woman and I just said, it's just not for us right now. Like we'll figure it out eventually, but because everybody else has a timeline too, right?
Totally.
And
That's a
everybody
giant piece of furniture that,
giant piece of furniture and they're
and
moving.
well, right. They've already completed. They've completed,
Yeah.
and there's still this giant thing
Yes.
in their house.
Right. And so we don't want to take that on, right? I didn't even think about that piece because I've been working on this for a while, but I did think about how it was affecting me. And
Right.
I just said it's just not feeling right, right? It's too wobbly. So I talk about the shaking tree. Do you ever talk about the shaking tree? I
Oh.
don't know where this came from actually, but I love it because we end up grabbing the shaking tree.
Mm.
We end up grabbing other people's problems or we
Right.
get wrapped up in the chaos of whatever it is. And for some reason, we take ownership of it,
Right. Why
right?
do
So,
we do that? I mean, our conditioning does, I mean, no one's mad that we do that, but we're all doing it and we are ready to complete.
yeah. So, her thing was she was moving and, I know she had taken really good care of the piano, but it was just too big for our space. And I was trying to navigate how to fit it into our space. And I'm like, this is crazy. This feels too shaky, right? This is a shaking tree. So I let go. I
Good for
let go of the shaking tree. So when you say no or when you complete, I think, correct me if I'm using the term wrong,
you.
but when you complete, it just frees up all this space. And if we want the things that we really want to come into our lives, we need to free up space,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
And I love to just in that analogy that you allowed yourself to be open to the possibility that there will be another piano that is the right size at the right time and will come with the same level of ease that you found this piano. Because I think sometimes what happens, I've certainly noticed it in my life, not only am I hanging onto the shaky tree, but I think, well, I said I wanted this, and this is the package that it came in. So let me mold myself or let me tolerate that it's
Right.
not exactly what I want because and then this phrase is going to come out of my mouth and it hurts every cell of my body when I say it. We just don't always get what we want, which I've heard that for my whole entire life. And I am so done with that because the reason that we believe that we don't get what we want is because we keep saying yes to less than what we want and then tolerating the piano that's too big. It's like, oh my gosh, why did I wait 40 years to get this thing that's almost what I wanted, but not what I wanted?
Hmm.
And to know that we are doing that to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So saying, saying yes to yourself or saying no to something that doesn't serve you
Right.
is so incredibly powerful. And if you say no to something or you complete it so that it's not on your plate anymore and it's not taking up brain space.
Because some things
um
were right in the season. When you hired the house
yeah.
cleaner, it was the right thing.
Yeah. But
And then,
yeah, but until you work with someone for a little bit, you just don't know kind of their style. So I think I just had to sort of get used to her style, and it was just too unstructured for me. It
mm,
was just too unstructured.
and
But
that's beautiful opportunity to fine tune what you want
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so here's what I've learned through, some great mentors of mine is that when you say no to something or when you complete it, when you get it off your plate, there will be another opportunity.
absolutely.
And it might be even a better opportunity. This being the Yes to Yourself podcast, um, I love that it's yes to yourself and not yes to everything,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
Because opportunities come when you say yes to things like that. It opens doors. And there's so many times when I wanted to say no, and I said yes, and I was so glad I did, but that's
Right.
that there's that other piece of, if you say yes to something, there's this fear that comes in, so you have to think about that and worry about that and what is this fear all about, and oh, there's fear coming up, so it's not the right thing. And actually when a little fear creeps in, oftentimes it is the very right thing.
Sure. And that is what you mentioned, being present and being mindful. And that process helps us identify the difference between resistance, which, to something that's new or unknown or there's discomfort, and intuition, which is us saying, this piano is too big. Like that
Mhm.
was not resistance. That wasn't you making yourself small and not opening yourself up to what you really want because you really want a big piano. No, the piano is not the right piano
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
It's not nothing wrong. It's just your opportunity to identify the difference between resistance and intuition, which I
Yeah.
think before we start exercising that muscle feels like, well, I'm not going to know and it's too scary. And so I'm just going to not do anything that feels scary and then complain
Mhm.
about being stuck. Like,
Right, right. So that's a really good point. You got to choose. Like you have to choose yes or no. You have to choose in or out. So choose so that it's not this. So yeah, so it's not this big energy suck. So if you guys talk about this all the time. We don't need to go over this, but it really affects your hormones. And that's why I care, is because if you don't choose, you're constantly draining energy. And that's when you don't feel well and all these symptoms come up because energy is everything. It's our life force. Energy is your life force. And as we get older and less well, or just less well, whether you're old or young or whatever it is, your life force is dimming, right? That's why we get less well. It's because our life force is dimming. So we need to keep that life force healthy and strong. And it's really just good energy in every cell of your body. And interestingly enough, this is a tip I don't share very often, but your kidneys are responsible for your spark, for that
Really?
in your eyes. So you want to make sure that you take really good care of your kidneys. And of course, every organ, but especially in wintertime, kidneys need extra love and support and warmth and all of that. And where you live, yeah, have you ever heard of a kidney warmer?
No. And
Well, they're
how
very
do I take care of my kidneys?
So lots of water, right? Water. You
Perfect.
got to keep flushing lots of water. That's a really good way to take care of your kidneys. And a kidney warmer in the wintertime, so if you have uh, colder days, it's very popular in Europe, and you can order them on Etsy, and they're beautiful wool kidney warmers, and it's like a little mini skirt. You just wrap it around your back above your kidneys, and it has a pretty little button that you button. And mine is gray, a gray wool. It's so soft and so pretty. And you just put it around your back so that you're protecting and warming your kidneys. So it's really lovely.
Amazing.
Where you live, it would be so wonderful to have a kidney warmer.
I'm so excited. Let me make a note of that because I have two speeds. They are right now or not at all. So I have to write that down.
That's cute. Right now, or not at all.
I just have so many good ideas and opportunities and thoughts moving through all the time that
Yeah.
I have this, I have to have this practice of making a note. It's
Yeah.
interesting, actually, even this morning I have a morning practice, and I just was getting all of these fantastic ideas, beautiful downloads, which is why I have a morning practice. It's just so yummy. And I filled all of these pages in my journal with these ideas and different opportunities for coaching programs and ways to work with clients and ways to be in contribution and in service. And I wrote it all down. And then I have another journal that has some to-do items because sometimes when I come out of meditation, I have a lot of ideas that are kind of more to-dos. So I went to my to-do journal with my free writing journal to transfer this information. No joke. Every single element was already there.
Oh, that's so
Like,
awesome.
yay. Well, then of course it's happening because I've already had this download twice and thankfully wrote it down.
Yeah.
And I need to actually reference the place that I wrote it down, but
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
good. It's so
That's
good.
so great. That's so great.
Yes. So I love everything that you're saying, and I'm so appreciative of it because, there are things that we know, and you said, we to say this all the time, but your hormones are changing. But I feel like, and it could just be because I'm going fast and I'm in charge of a farm and all the other hundreds of things that I'm doing. That's as far as I know. Like all I know is that they're changing, but I don't know what does that mean. Like you say, care for your kidneys. Okay. What does that mean? How do I do that? How do I take this new information that seemingly everyone knows or should know and recognize that I don't and I desire to? And how do we educate ourselves in a way that isn't shaming ourselves in the process? I
Mhm.
was a wedding planner for 30 years. And
That's right. Yeah.
although everyone's been to a wedding and everyone's done, there are just things that the bride and groom don't know.
Yeah.
And when they hire me, a huge part of my job is educating them on the wedding industry and how the expectations that have been created for your guests by every other wedding they've gone to. And,
Mhm.
it requires a lot of intention and um, mindfulness around the elements that are important. So, all to say, although I've heard of hormones, although I have them, although I am postmenopausal, I'm assuming that's what I am if I have not had a cycle since 7 years, in 7 years.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
just one year without a cycle is
Okay.
postmenopause.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like you're just going and now it's like, oh, okay. I probably should have some information about all those towns that I've already driven past. But
Cute.
what do you want me to know?
Well, I would say it doesn't sound like the hormonal shifts have been an issue for you. I would, because if they were, you would be seeking out a lot of information.
Right.
And, we women know hormones. We know that they exist. We
Yep.
just don't know what to do with them.
Right.
And there's so much misinformation out there. We're always testing our sex hormones, progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, because that's what we're asked to do.
Yes.
But those hormones give us very little information, except that if they're out of balance, our big hormones are really taking the resources. So
Mm,
if we just test our minor hormones, our sex hormones, those are our minor hormones and they're way downstream. And this is a really great way to remember about hormones is that because as women, we talk about hormones, we're just talking about our sex hormones because that's all we know.
right. Right. And when I
Generally,
couldn't have a baby,
yeah.
had all of these tests all the time and we're charting and all the
Okay.
things.
Okay.
And then as soon as we transitioned to international adoption, I stopped paying attention to my hormones.
Yeah. Yeah. But those are minor hormones, and so I think a really easy way to think about this is we can't um, get stuff done or be the go-go girl
Right.
and make babies.
Right.
Because if you're the go-go girl like I mean, I was able to make babies. I'm not sure how that happened. Some of us can. Um, if I had waited, probably wouldn't have been the case. Um, because you're using up something called pregnenolone to make your sex hormones. So your brain's main function is to keep you alive.
Mhm.
And so it's going to use your major hormone, cortisol.
Okay.
So maybe some of you have heard of it, maybe you haven't. To along with adrenaline and maybe norepinephrine, epinephrine to keep you alive. And cortisol is your daytime hormone. So
Okay.
we love her because she's all about energy. She gives us the energy to do our day, but she needs a nice rhythm. So
Hmm.
cortisol needs a nice rhythm. She is your major hormone because she's the go-to if your body, if your brain's freaking out about you being in harm's way.
Sure.
And I heard you mention a to-do list. A to-do list is one of those things that your brain might feel is harming you. So it can raise cortisol because you're busy, 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 right? Maybe you lost your car keys. Maybe you're stuck in traffic. Maybe you're late for an appointment, right? Those are not life threatening, but your brain doesn't know that. All your brain knows is there's a problem,
Mhm.
right? And it could be life threatening. And so cortisol is going to rise at a time when it probably shouldn't be rising.
Hmm.
And when cortisol rises, insulin rises. Insulin is a hormone and it's
Fascinating.
made by your pancreas. And the reason it works with cortisol is because it is the key that unlocks your cells to get sugar from your bloodstream in so you can run or you can lift that car off your child or whatever it is. So it's really important to know that cortisol and insulin are your major hormones. And when
That
you
is
start paying
cool.
attention to those hormones, you have so much control over balancing those hormones. Then your sex hormones become balanced. And then you can sleep at night and you can restore and heal and re energize for a next day full of fun things. So, a big takeaway here is never mind estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. balance your cortisol and insulin.
Beautiful. And how would you suggest that we do that?
So, can we talk about your to-do list?
Let's talk about the to-do
Yeah,
list.
I don't think that it's a to-do list in the strict sense of the word. I think yours is a little bit different. Yours is more of like a wish list or a, you know, it's kind of a, yours is a, oh, let's talk about this. Yours is a not doing now list.
Correct.
Yes.
It's the I don't want to forget list.
Yes, it's the not
It's a
doing now. So,
they're reminders more
yes.
than tasks,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
So
So
there are
there
things
are
that,
some tasks. I mean, I'm a
yeah,
farmer, so
yeah,
my tasks are seasonal and my tasks are abundant. So sometimes while I'm walking in the direction of one task, I identify three new ones. And
yes,
so
yes,
then I just want to capture, for me, capturing it as a reminder, writing down
yes.
kidney
Hmm.
warmer, because
Hmm.
what that does for me is it allows me to free my mind
Yeah,
from needing to remember the thing that I need to do, and then I can just do what's in front of me.
right.
But I also have things on my list, and then I have things on God's to-do list.
Mm.
So that he has a lot more things on his list than on mine. And I just take, what I can do today.
So, so the to-do list is I call them hormone deal breakers. They're things that are going to imbalance your cortisol. And a to-do list is a big one. I had a to-do list for years. And does your to-do list ever get shorter?
No,
Raise your hand. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mine never got shorter. I felt really good crossing things off my to-do list, but then I would add even more on each
for
day.
sure.
And so the problem with a to-do list is that it's not in your calendar.
Right.
So most often, whatever we write on that little piece of paper doesn't make it to our calendars. So guess what?
Doesn't happen.
Well, it either doesn't happen or it's just extra stuff.
Mm,
And you look at that to-do list throughout the day and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to get that stuff done, right? So you create this hormone crisis
sure.
because you have a to-do list that's not in your calendar. So you haven't allocated any time for it. So it's just extra that you're pushing yourself to get done because you felt at the time it was important. So it would be wonderful if from this day forward you didn't have a to-do list. Instead, you have what's called a doing now list, a
Okay.
not doing now list, and a never doing now list. And I have a little piece of paper here, but you can just take like an eight and a
I
half
love
by,
this.
yeah, it's so great. Take an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and just fold it into thirds.
Okay.
And you're gonna put doing now,
Okay.
not doing now, and never doing now. So you're just gonna have three columns. And
Yes.
what's so awesome is that you can move things to the left anytime you want. So the doing now list is anything that needs to be done on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and it's in your calendar.
Sure.
Any appointments, laundry, grocery shopping, checking the garden, whatever it is you do in the garden, there has to be time allocated for it
Right.
because now you have the space for it.
Right. And then you know that you don't have the space for it. If there's no space on your calendar, it's not happening.
Right. So on your doing now list, those are all the things that you need to get done. And so they're going to be in your calendar. If you find that you keep moving something in your calendar, that needs to be delegated
Right.
because you're not
Right.
doing it, right?
Right. And you're procrastinating if that's a part of why you're not doing it. And in Dan Sullivan's book, Who Not How, this is a beautiful concept that anything you're procrastinating is the universe telling you to delegate that.
Yeah, it's not really in your strike zone, so to
Hmm.
speak, right? It's not your thing. So just notice that. You know, sometimes we have to do things we don't like, but just notice if you keep moving something. The second column is not doing now. And that second column, those are things that you want to do in the next year, but they're not calendared.
Okay.
So that's why I said your list is really a not doing now list,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Because these are things that you're thinking about that, maybe are things that you want to do eventually, but you just haven't gotten there yet.
Right.
And so it doesn't become a thing. It absolutely takes no brain space
Right.
until you move it into your doing now, until it gets calendared. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I
And
am
and
making.
so these lists are morphing all the time, right?
Right.
But you don't get to, I mean, a to-do list literally takes you out because you're thinking about all the things on it and you're constantly contemplating whether it's today that it has to be done or not. That's taking energy. So we're trying to clear energy so that you have a good cortisol rhythm. And you want
Yes.
to have a good cortisol rhythm looks like a nice cortisol awakening response within 2 to 3 hours of waking. So you have this great energy to do your day. And then it starts to go down in the afternoon as it should,
Mhm.
so that melatonin can start to come up at night. So it works in sync with melatonin. If your cortisol is out of balance, your melatonin is going to be out of balance and you're not going to sleep well. And sleep is like
Magic.
almost everything. Sleep and food, right? Almost everything.
It's
Your
my
third
favorite.
column, we're trying to preserve your cortisol, ladies, and keep your insulin down because insulin resistance, have you heard of that?
No.
Insulin resistance is it's where your insulin receptors to get that blood sugar into the cells, um, they don't respond to insulin anymore.
Oh,
So you end up storing fat, storing sugar as fat instead of getting it into your cells. So that makes you fat and tired, insulin resistance.
that sounds
And we
awful.
become more insulin resistant as we age if we don't pay attention. So diabetes is an example of extreme insulin resistance.
Okay.
But
And
it
that
also,
is, and forgive me for not knowing, but that is something that is created in our body because cortisol is not being managed.
insulin?
The resistance.
No, insulin resistance, there are many causes. There are
Okay.
many root causes of insulin resistance, including like just BPA and plastics will cause
Oh,
insulin
interesting.
resistance. So it's
Okay.
not just eating too much sugar.
Okay.
There are a lot of reasons. Um, but what I wanted to say about that is insulin resistance has the same symptoms as perimenopause and menopause.
Oh, fascinating.
So it can be a root cause. So we don't want anything to take out, right, our cortisol because then that takes out our insulin. So the third column is never doing now. And the never doing now are just maybe it's your bucket list.
Okay.
Maybe it's silly things. I put silly things on mine like a professional tennis player, um, you know, rock and roll singer, you know. But you could put things that you actually want to do. Like we
Okay.
went to Wimbledon this year,
Oh,
and that
fun.
was definitely on my never doing now. And then it moved to my doing now, and then it moved to my calendar. It was so good.
Yay.
So anyway,
So
never doing
these
now,
are
or
things you want, but they're
yeah,
not calendared and
they're
they're
not going to happen in the next year.
not in the next year. Got it. Okay.
No, anything that you want to happen over the next year is in your not doing now.
Got it.
Never
Perfect.
doing now are just hopes and dreams, right?
Okay.
And they can move into your not doing now at any time. You can,
Right.
okay, this is time. I'm going to do this year. I just don't know when yet.
Right.
So move it to your not doing now, like I did with Wimbledon.
Yes. The
And
word
so,
never is throwing me off. I'm like, wait a minute. Why? Why do I have a
but
dream that
never doing now. Yeah.
exactly?
And you can name it whatever you want,
Yes.
but it's just not within the next year.
Got it.
And some of my things are definitely never doing now, but they're fun to think
But
about.
they're fun, right?
They
Exactly.
make me smile.
That's
Um,
perfect.
Yeah, so is that clear? It's doing
Yes.
now, not
Mhm.
doing now, never doing now. And it's a game changer because you
Right.
no longer have this little list anywhere, right? There's no list. It's just on your pretty sheet. And maybe, in your journal, you can have a page that's doing now. You can have a page that's never not doing now, and then another page that's never doing now. And then your doing now gets into your calendar.
Right.
And then the other stuff is fun to think about, and you'll move it into your doing now when it's ready to be calendared.
Right. Right. And it might even fast track and not get in the not doing now. Like you might have that morning practice and that download that gave you the dream, AKA never doing now. And
Hmm.
then because you let yourself think about being a rock and roll star and a professional tennis player and all of those things, you had the energy to attract the vibrational match to you. And the next thing you know, it can go on your calendar.
That's right.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's in your field, right? It's in your
Right.
world. It's just not in
Yeah.
your calendar. So
Right.
it's not telling your brain that your body needs saving.
Sure. Right. Right.
So your cortisol can be freed up to actually just give you energy during the day and not try to save your life every second of every day. Because that's what's happening for us. I mean,
Makes sense.
when you listen to my bio, there were years where I was just I didn't have a second. I don't know how I did it. I mean, that's the gift
Same.
and sort of the uh the awful part of being young is that you can push through and you can bounce back, but as we age, that doesn't happen.
Right.
When you push through, you're just out for a while. You have to play catch up. And it's sort of the blessing and the curse. When you're younger, if I would have gotten the message that I needed to rest and get more nutrients and eat more food, I wouldn't have burned out in my mid to late 30s. I completely burned out. And it's because I was pushing so hard for so long. And I had, a gazillion health symptoms that went along with that. So we don't want that to happen. And it doesn't need to happen. A lot of the symptoms that we experience here in the US as women are not experienced anywhere else in the world
Say more, please.
or many places around the world. So hot flashes are a great example. I mean, even fibroids, all sorts of symptoms that we experience here are really because of a very fast-paced life,
Hmm.
and so there's a concept that I like to use, and it's building up your body. So
Mm-hmm.
we're either building up or we're breaking down.
Mm.
And if you're busy, 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 you're breaking down your body too fast.
Sure.
And you're not able to build it up fast enough. And it really comes down to the resources that we're putting in, the vitamins, the minerals, the proteins, the fats, the carbs, the sleep, the water, the sunshine, right? So we eventually become like the hibernating bear when we don't have enough resources that our metabolism just slows down
Sure.
because the thyroid is a compensatory gland and it's going to slow down to sort of the lowest common denominator of functioning in your body. And so you just store fat, store sugar as fat, and then you get really tired. And so if, as women, we learn to undereat and overexercise
Right.
and, being out in that garden doing, right? You feel like you're exercising, you're moving, you're doing a lot. But you've got to fuel yourself
Right.
for exercise. And if we learned to undereat, right, which
Mhm.
I absolutely did
Yeah,
all the time,
absolutely did too.
I just wouldn't eat, just wouldn't
Right.
eat. I don't even think I drank water, honestly,
Right.
because who even knew to drink water?
Oh.
And then I go running, right? So how crazy is that? Yeah, I'm going to make my body do more, but I'm going to give it zero fuel to do it.
Mhm. Exactly. And be applauded by all that I'm getting done.
Yes. And then, after I don't eat breakfast and then I go for a run and then I'm just going to do the rest of the day. And
Right.
somehow, my body needs to keep up. And my brain too, and our brain actually consumes more energy than probably any other part of our body. It consumes a lot of energy and energy in the form of calories, by the way. So it's really important to feed your body. And when you feed yourself within an hour of waking, a high protein breakfast, you're actually telling cortisol to have that nice spike in the morning.
Okay.
It's telling your body to get going. Right now,
Sure.
it's time to go. So, yeah, when I was in Paris, I was just telling Wendy that I went to France for the first time. It was so great.
It
So,
is.
when I go traveling, I always look for the healthier places to eat
Sure.
because I actually want protein for breakfast. And I know in France, like in London too, there are a gazillion pastry shops.
Right. Right.
So I actually need protein. So I found the cutest place.
Oh, yay.
It's just little. And my poor friend who was with me, she just wanted a croissant. She
Oh,
wanted a croissant made with butter,
okay. Yep.
which was lovely. And of course, I wanted to try a croissant made with butter too, but I'm gluten free. Eventually, I did, and it was lovely. But we found the cutest little cafe, I would say, not a bakery, but a cute little cafe that had all this gluten-free stuff, but it was just lovely. Like they had the matcha
Wonderful.
lattes and they had these beautiful quiches and they made us these fresh omelets each morning.
Oh my gosh, this is wonderful. What's the name of
Oh
it?
yeah, I'll get it to you.
Please.
Yeah, I'll get it to, and I'm gonna well, I can tell you what it is right now. I'm gonna get it pronounce it wrong, but
Oh,
it's
that's okay. You can spell it.
yeah, it's La Ponte Traversée. So LA and then PONT,
Mhm.
Pont, and then
Okay.
TRAVERSE, La
Oh,
Ponte
perfect.
Traversée in
Okay.
Paris. And we were able to walk there every morning. And that was like the favorite part of my day.
They so good.
Yeah, so we got our, and everything was gluten free. So they have these little mini gluten free croissants and the little chocolate croissants. And I just don't eat a lot of refined carbs, but it was such a fun treat, like such a fun treat. So, um,
I love that tip. Thank you so much because a lot of my clients are gluten free. And
okay,
so, of course, we're making macarons with Molly in Versailles, but
right,
all the
right.
other elements I
Yeah.
have to
That
really
it's
think
pretty
about.
tricky. Yeah.
Mhm.
And let's be honest, the gluten-free croissant is not light and fluffy and, gorgeous like the
Whatever.
wheat flour croissant. But to me, it just, how I feel is everything. So,
Exactly.
yeah. And for some reason, like gluten-free doesn't mean healthy, by the way. That does not mean healthy by any means. But this place just happened to make all their own stuff. And so it was just beautiful. And then there was another place in Avignon that we found unbelievably beautiful. They're not gluten free, but they have gluten free options, but
Oh,
they
yeah.
just make beautiful food. And it's that one is Tulip.
Okay. Thank you.
Tulip. And they are in a gorgeous building called the NID.
Okay.
NID, and they have a gorgeous store and they have massage. We got massages there after our hike.
Oh my gosh, how wonderful.
It was so great. It's just a beautiful place. So it's not easy to find and then the co-op grocery stores, fabulous. Like those had, all sorts of things that we could pick up. So that's part of the fun of traveling for me is just finding those little gems where the
Right.
food is really nutritious and, really fuels me. So I have
Um,
great energy because we hiked 38 and a half miles in 3 days.
Amazing.
And it was up and down and all around and we were constantly, we went from the beautiful vineyards up to the pine trees and then back
Sure.
down again, over and over and over. And so we needed some good fuel. We
Right.
we couldn't do croissants alone. So
No.
that's where, you just You're supporting your body's cortisol and insulin, right? You're supporting your body's energy when you eat for hormone balance, when you sleep for hormone balance, when you do a to-do list for hormone balance, right?
Right.
That it's a game changer. So now you can sleep. Now you have great energy during the day. Your brain is actually working. All these lovely things happen.
I love this. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing those really practical ways because we do know we are experiencing, our bodies are changing, things are changing. The capacity that I used to have, like you said, you don't know how you did it. Have no idea how I did everything that I used to do, even just 6 years ago. Like, I have no idea how I did all that and was a delightful person to be around. And now although my days are very full, my days are not busy. Have a lot of intention and the way that my body is working and the lifestyle that I have, it's very supportive of how my body is working. And I am up at 4:45 and I have a gorgeous morning practice. And when the sun goes down, my body says, it's midnight. We got to go to bed. So in the winter, when the sun goes down at 4:30, I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm down. Like
Yeah,
I'm
winter's time to hibernate.
right.
It
And
really is. And, it was with the invention of the light bulb, actually. And when it became affordable for every household, that our hormones actually went crazy because we could have light 24/7.
right.
And it's the light that comes into your eyes that actually tells your brain that it's time to get going. So all the electronics that we look at night, any lights in our eyes, the overhead lights that we all use so frequently, they're taking out your ability to sleep
Mm,
because it stops melatonin production in its tracks. It just stops it. So any light that comes in your eyes once it gets dark outside stops melatonin production. And all you have to do is watch your pets, right? Our dogs, when it
mhm.
starts to get dark outside, they are done for the day. And it doesn't even matter how much exercise they got. It's
Right.
just like, nope, that's it. They just want to curl up and go to bed. And that's how we need to be. And I know it's so crazy because like 4:30, it gets dark where you are. And
Mhm.
you're thinking, okay, this is way too early.
Kind of like
But
I'm
you can wear like a headlamp and you can read your book. You can turn on area lights like candles. So when candles were how we did evening, that worked because
sure.
it was soft light. It was more amber light.
Right.
It's that blue light that really causes the problem. And of course, many of us are on our phones and tablets and computers all hours of the day. And that's a real hormone deal breaker.
Sure. Oh my goodness. Okay. You are obviously a fount of information that is so helpful. I'm really appreciative of your time. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow you, how they can get more delicious, helpful information, all the good things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we're at naturalhormonesolution.com. And we have collaborated with Wendy to make available to you the complete hormone assessment,
Amazing.
which is a super informative and kind of fun way to really kind of know what's going on with six hormones and the
Mm,
six hormones that I want you to pay attention to. And those six hormones are, yes, your sex hormones, progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone, but then your major hormones, cortisol and insulin, because remember from this day forward, those are the hormones that you're going to pay attention to.
yes.
And then there's one more, that's your thyroid hormones.
Mm,
And thyroid's kind of a mid hormone. It could be considered a major as well, but it's compensatory. So, what that means is that you don't have as much influence over thyroid as you do over cortisol. You have a
okay,
lot of influence over cortisol by how you do your day,
sure.
but you don't have a lot of really control over thyroid. Thyroid's going to pay attention to everything else going on in your body, and then it's going to act accordingly. But thyroid hormones are your metabolism. They're what kind of is the gas pedal, in your car. So, when we're talking about, our spark and our energy and our life force, thyroid hormones are very, very important. So these six hormones are really fun kind of to see what health symptoms are associated. And there are definitely some overlaps.
Okay.
But what you're going to love about it is that, we only, as a woman, only paid attention to the things that made me not look so good,
Mhm.
like my weight. So
Right.
frustrated by my weight. And I was so frustrated by the acne that I had on my face, my chest, and my back for decades. And I would do anything to figure that out because it was so embarrassing. And I want you to know that I took credit for everything.
Mm.
Everything that was going wrong with my body, I took credit for. Don't take credit for anything, right? You didn't create this. Your symptoms are there to give you information, to
Right.
tell you that your body is out of balance and it just needs some more resources. That's it. So the reason that's important for the complete hormone assessment is because you're going to identify some symptoms that you have that you push out of your mind,
Hmm.
that you say, oh, that's just getting older, or, there's nothing I can do about that. So I just have to live with it. I mean, how many symptoms have you said I just have to live with?
Right.
I had varicose veins when I was in my 20s. They were painful and ugly, and they healed completely. I had receding gums. I had receding enamel on my teeth. My dentist handed me a tube of Sensodyne toothpaste to numb it out. I
Right.
was thinking, well, I guess that's the solution,
Sure.
right? It got me through because I had a lot of pain when I ate hot or cold foods. But my gums completely healed, and the enamel grew back on my teeth.
No
So
way.
For the,
I'm
for the
in.
first time in my life, in my like late 30s, early 40s, I could bite into an ice cream and not, die
Right.
from the pain. So I had rough elbows, and
Okay.
I thought it was a lotion problem. I
Sure.
must have tried 50 different lotions. Turns out it's not a lotion issue. It's really
Really?
just giving my body the fats that my body needed so that I could have soft elbows.
Wow. It's
So it's things like
amazing.
that, right? Like you'll
Thank
see, and
you.
and racing from one task to the next is a hormone imbalance issue. And you'll see which hormone is associated with that. So I think you're going to love it.
I'm
Um,
so excited.
yeah, the URL there is natural hormone solution, not plural,
Okay.
naturalhormonesolution.com/say yes.
Perfect.
So good.
Yay. Well, we will link all of that down in the show notes. You are a treasure. Thank you so much, Robin. I'm so delighted to be connected with you and know this will not be our last conversation.
Yeah, and you are a treasure, and I would love to visit your farm someday and meet up with you in France and all the
Me
fun
too.
things. It's so awesome what you're doing.
Yay. We will move them from the never doing now to the doing now.
Let's do it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.